Welcome to Research Talk. I hope you all are doing well. In our previous video, we talked about how we can use Von Manen's 5 existential themes when we are doing phenomenological analysis. You remember in previous video, we covered the first existential theme, which was relationality, how we experience self and other with reference to the phenomenon that we are investigating. So we covered in the previous video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about another existential theme that you can use when you are exploring, when you are analyzing your phenomenological materials. And that theme is lived body. The second existential theme, lived body. How we experience our body with reference to the phenomenon that we are investigating. We often ignore or maybe not really aware of our own bodily experience. We often focus about our mental experiences in our day-to-day life. So when we think about lived human experience, our first focus is we experience phenomena here in our mind, in our brain. However, all the phenomenon, all human lived experiences are experienced both through our body and through our mind. We have 5 sense organs. Our sense organs captures the information from our environment and then take it to our brain where it is processed. So our body is completely, totally, constantly engaged in the experience while processing all the human experiences. So think about any experience that you have. Let's say, think about a time when you were very angry with somebody. Now, in that moment, if you look carefully, you are surely going to have some bodily reactions, some bodily sensations. You may experience that your breathing is faster when you are very angry in any situation. Think about a time when you are very relaxed, very calm and relaxed. At that time, you may experience your body is experiencing that particular space-time phenomena in a different way. Think about a time when you are anxious. Think about let's say you are waiting for an interview in a company and you are in the waiting area. There are other candidates waiting for their turn and your name is about to be called. You are sitting on a chair and you may experience maybe some sweating on your palm, maybe a little bit of anxiety thinking about how this interview is going to be. So our body is constantly engaged in all types of lived experiences from morning till evening. So when we think about exploring human lived experiences, we must focus on lived bodily experiences. This can help us go deeper, understand deeply about the meanings, about how a phenomenon is being experienced, how a phenomenon is being sensed, perceived, how a phenomenon is being perceived, how a phenomenon is being sensed, how a phenomenon is being touched through our bodies. So our bodily experiences are super, super important when it comes to exploring lived human experiences. When you think about reflecting on this theme of lived bodily experiences, think about how we experience our own body versus how we experience others' bodies, how we look at our own body versus how we looked at people around us. Also, think about how we experience our body in online mediums. So, when I am on a Zoom call with my students, how I'm experiencing bodies in an online medium versus when I'm interacting and perceiving, sensing bodies in offline, in-person medium. How do I experience my own body in day-to-day context versus when how do I sense my body in an online or cyberspace? How do I experience my own body? And the thing to keep in mind is right now, most of the, any phenomenon that you might be exploring, our lives are so intertwined with technology. So online, cyberspace is something that you may want to explore when you explore a phenomenon, how our body is perceived, sensed, touched through the phenomenon that we are investigating. If you remember in our beginning videos, we talked about a great philosopher, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, a French philosopher who contributed to the movement of phenomenology by writing his book, Phenomenology of Perception. In this book, Phenomenology of Perception, he talked about why it is important to pay attention to bodily experience, why our body could be a great source of information when we try to understand any phenomenon, we try to understand any lived human experience. So in summary, whenever you start exploring a phenomenon, whenever you are analyzing your phenomenological materials, it's important to reflect on these questions. How my research participant is experiencing the phenomenon through their bodies, how their bodies are perceiving, sensing, touching the phenomenon, how my participants' bodies are being perceived in online or offline mediums. So overall, focusing on the sensings, perception, experience, lived experience of our body is very, very important. Now let's unpack this further by taking the same example that we have been taking, which is lived experiences of Black women in academia. When you explore this phenomenon of Black women faculty members' lived experiences in academia, you may come up with certain themes with reference to lived bodily experiences. What might be some possible themes which may arise when you look at the data from lived body perspective? So one thing that may come up is how Black women body as a subject and also as an object. When you explore with these participants about describing their experience, about how they feel as a Black women in academic setting, they may talk about things like how they experience themselves, their own self, their bodies in this setting, but also how others around them may objectify them based on their gender, based on how racial background, based on how they may perceive. There may be some themes of objectifying Black women bodies. There might be some experiences related to that. You may also come up with certain themes which are like bodily awareness and hypervisibility. What it means is Black women faculty members may become acutely aware of their bodies in certain situations, such as faculty meetings, classrooms, conferences, where they may be one of the few, if not the only Black women present. This hypervisibility can lead to feelings of discomfort, self-consciousness, or pressure to perform or represent their race and gender in such meetings. The other's theme could also be, which may come up from in terms of the lived bodily experience, is the emotional and psychological embodiment of racism and microaggressions. So when you explore the lived body perspective of this experience, you participant may share about how the emotional and psychological, how they experience this phenomenon through the emotions that they go through, and also the psychological experiences and how that those experiences is experienced through their bodies. So there might be something like they may talk about how these female black women, they go through the physical sensation and emotional burdens associated with these lived experiences, providing insights into how their bodies absorb and react to discriminatory or hostile environment in the university setting. Other themes can also come up, such as professionalism and bodily expressions. So how these women, they experience the expectation of looking professionalism and how their bodies are and how they navigate the challenges, such as like how they express, what kind of dressing or hairstyle they feel is being acceptable in sort of called professional on their campus, in their department, in their offices. So all these themes may emerge when, as a phenomenologist, I focus on the lived body. So again, the idea is whatever research topic, whatever phenomenon that you are interested in, when you explore, when you collect your data, when you look at the data, always look at how the participants are experiencing the phenomenon through their bodily experiences. What are some descriptions? So again, making sure that you ask questions that help you get anecdotal data, rich and thick contextual details around how your participants are experiencing the phenomenon through their bodies. So this is briefly about the second existential theme that you can use when you are analyzing your data. And these perspectives can help you get deeper meaning, deeper reflection and meanings around the phenomenon that you are investigating. I'll see you in another video talking about the third existential. See you again. Have a good rest of the day.